This
Let us
conference
begin.
will now be recorded.
Sixth parak, Shar Avodas Elokim. Amra Nefesh. The Nefesh says, Kvar havinoti mash zacharta, uvamashe pirashta dai. I already understand what you have mentioned. You've explained it sufficiently. Ach be'erli. But please explain to me. Al kama panim ani chayevet b'tosefet ha'avodah le'Elokim yitbarach. What are the stages for which I need to have this Tosefet Avodah, this added service to Hashem? What are the situations for which I will have the obligation of this added Avodas Hashem? Amar Seichel, the Seichel explains, Ki Tosefet Avodah al Anasheha mitkaleket miderech haklal v'haprat b'tova aleihem. It's not going to be the same for every person. He's going to give a very, very beautiful mashal, a very beautiful parable a little later on, right? Now, let's say it comes to maser, to tithing, right? So let's say well, he uses grain. Let me use money, right? A person earns $1,000 and he gives $100 for tzedakah. Fantastic. A person earns $10,000 and he gives $900 for tzedakah. That's not good. So you have to give your 10%. So even though this one's giving 100, this one's giving 900, the one who's giving 100 is considered very righteous. The one who's giving 900 is shirking the responsibilities somewhat. So we can't look at anyone else and compare ourselves to someone else and say, hey, I'm doing more than them, right? Because who knows what the expectation for each of us is in our Avodas Hashem. And each of us, according to the specific bracha blessings that Hashem has given us, that determines the degree of the level on which my Avodas Hashem needs to be. And therefore he says it's mitchaleket. It will divide up betova aleihem derech haklal v'haprat from everyone else as as compared to me personally, and that is according to the tova that a person has. Remember when I was teaching in the yeshiva in Israel, so my brother Lavashtam came to visit, and I kept calling this guy, hey, tzaddik, tzaddik, tzaddik. And I always had to make, come on, who are you kidding? Is this guy such a tzaddik? And I said, you should know with what his background is, if he's here in yeshiva, he's not learning all that much. He actually came to yeshiva, he's a tzaddik. There are different expectations. And Rav Moshe illustrates this very beautifully. There's a pasuk in the beginning of Shema, Parshas Va'era, actually, towards the beginning of Exodus, I suppose, where the pasuk says, "Who Aaron v'Moshe," and Rashi there says, "Who Aaron v'Moshe," teaches me that Aaron and Moshe were equal, of the same stature. So if Moshe asks, how can we possibly think? How can we say Moshe and Aaron are on the same stature? When Hashem approached Moshe by the burning bush, so Moshe said, "Send Aaron," and Hashem said, "No, you the man. I have to send you." Right? And splitting the sea, Moshe. Mount Sinai, Moshe. Everything Moshe. So how can we say that Moshe and Aaron were equal, of equal stature? Well, they were, because Moshe and Aaron utilized, maximized their potentials to the same degree. So Moshe had a greater potential. So he maximized it and therefore was the man as opposed to Aaron. But Aaron, who equally maximized his potential, so Aaron therefore is considered to be equal to Moshe. Yeah, equal to Moshe. Even though one does more than the other, we have to take into account the Tova Alehem. So let's see now. Tova Alamedabrim al Arba'anim. The Tovot, the levels of good that is on humankind, he calls us the Medabrim, those who speak. right? Back in Bereshit, when Hashem said when the pasuk says that Hashem created a nefesh chaya, a living person, the uncles there translates Aramaic as nefesh mamala, a being that is a speaking being, and he uses that term. So amongst humankind, there are arba inyanim. Harishon, number one, tovat haborei hakolelet kol adam. The good that Hashem gives that includes every single human being. For who? And that is Hamtzian, that God brought us into existence. Acher shelo haya davar nimtza. He created us, right? Allowed us to be created from a sperm and egg cell. We were not nimtza. We were not in existence. And then we were born. V'hachayotam. And he gave us life. How many? How many pregnancies don't go full term? And how many children are born with and don't the infant mortality rate? So he brought us into existence and he gave us life. V'atovalahem b'chol asher hikdamnu, and all of those goodness, those bounties that we had earlier, dachro b'shar hasheni. We mentioned that in the second gate, which was shar habechina. Right? If we were to put a price tag on our ability to see, our ability to hear, ability to walk, ability to speak, it would be millions upon millions of dollars that we would assess each of these gifts that Hashem gives us. And therefore, for that, we are obligated to serve Hashem, service that is kolelet, that is equally applicable to all. Vihi, and that is kol hatorot hasichliot. That is all of the teachings hasichliot. That is what he calls sichliot. That is logical. That we understand that we need to keep them, right? And that would probably be including the Sheva Mitzvah B'nai Noach, the 7 Noahide Mitzvah. You're not murdering, you're not committing adult, you're not acting immorally, you're not worshiping idolatry, you're not stealing, you're setting up a proper court system, you're not cursing out God, you're not tearing animals to bits, right? All of these things are what we call the sichliot, right? That's seichel, right? And even without Hashem giving me direct commandments, I understand that that's what I need to do if I am living here, existing, inhabiting God's world. Asher nagben Adam v'Chanoch v'Noach u'banav, right? That's what Adam and Chanoch and Noach and his sons adhered to. So it's interesting. We call them the Sheva Mitzvah B'nai Noach, the 7 Noahide Mitzvah, even though they almost all started with Adam. But one of them did not start with Adam. And which one is that? Right? The one that didn't start with Adam would be Avram and Achai from a live animal, because Adam and Chava, until the time of Noah, we were all vegetarians. We weren't allowed to, different opinions. We're certainly not allowed to kill animals and eat, right? Let's go simply, we're not allowed to eat any of the animals. It was only with the onset of the flood, where all the animal world was saved as a result of us, that is when and where it became that we're allowed to eat animals. Just 1 second. Cheryl and Steve and Grace, welcome. We're in chapter 6, chapter 1. Chapter 6, the first beginning in Safari at 6:1. And I had to turn down, I don't hear myself if I'm here in triplicate. So if you want to say something, you'll have to open your cameras and raise your fingers so I can see you. Otherwise I can't hear you. Yes.
So Rabbi, then what you're saying is there was a judicial function in the time of Adam? I mean, if the 7 laws.
Well, yes. I mean, Adam and Eve, and of course, it was just the 2 of them, right? Sometimes you need, of course, just the 2 of them, right? But all those generations that followed, the court system, having a just society, did apply to them. But one of the seven mitzvot, Bnei Noach, which is Ever Menachai, that does not apply to Adam and Chava until the generation of the flood, and that's why I believe it's referred to Shev Mitzvah Bnei Noach. Okay. So again, that includes Noach, Hanoch, Adam, Hanoch, Noach and his sons, Eov and his friends, Ad Yemot Moshe Rabbeinu, Alav Hashalom, until the time of Moshe Rabbeinu, until the time of the Torah being given. Umi shedavak bahen kulan la'avodat ha'elokim. And someone who clings to these mitzvot in order to serve Hashem. That's interesting. Right? It's not enough to just, yeah, I'm a good guy. I'm not going to steal. I'm not going to do that. No, one needs to do that in recognition of I'm serving Hashem, meaning in recognition and in acknowledgement and as a show of thanks and as a show of earning my rent here in this world. So someone who does that, Shedavid Behen, who clings to them, La'avodat Elokim, in order to serve Hashem, Yetiv Lo Elokim B'tova Miyuchedet Mishar B'nei Adam. Then Hashem will give good to that person, and in a unique, special way, more than Shar B'nei Adam, more than the general populace. V'yitain Lo Mala Yiteir B'olam Hazeh. A person will have a higher level in this world and Gmul Gadol and great recompense in the world to come. Avram, for example, Avram. That Hashem said to him, Al Tira Avram, don't be afraid. Anochi Magein Lecha, I will protect you. That's in this world. Sicharcha Harvei Ma'od, your reward is great. That is in the world to come. Umisha Yamra Elokim B'tovotav. And a person who will rebel against Hashem because of these good. So a person will use the gifts that Hashem has given us to work against Hashem, to go against Hashem. Wow. Someone who does that, Yipol mimadregat hamidabrim imalotam. He will fall from the madrega. Let's see if I could leave. I'm afraid if I leave one, I'm going to leave all. Maybe I could just leave some of my triplicates. Let's see. I think so. Let's see. Okay. Oh, good. I could excuse myself again. No. Okay. Let's see if I have my voice back on. No. I hear myself still. Okay. Can I leave this one? Oh, I can excuse this one. 1 second. Okay. I can stop torturing you with 3 pictures of myself and down to just one. Good. Okay. So someone who uses all of these gifts in order to rebel against Hashem, so then not only is he not utilizing that extra level that one was given, but yipol mimadregat hamidabrim umalotam, he will fall from that level of humankind, the medabrim, el shafal madregat hachai she'ena medaber, down to the level of animals. Wow. V'yedino kedin habehemot ba'olam. And his din will be like that of animals in the world. Kamoshe Katuv, as it says, Va'oivei Hashem Ki yikar karim, those enemies of Hashem. So they will be like the honor that's given to sheep. This is tough. What is the honor that's given to sheep? They're fattened before they're slaughtered. What were you saying, Cheryl?
Korbans.
Yes, that's the highest level. But otherwise, yeah. But they're fattened and then they're slaughtered. Ouch. So that's what happens also, that they will be given their reward for anything. Those who are fighting against, rebelling against God, then they'll be like the behemoth. They get fattened before they get slaughtered, meaning any reward for anything good that they've done, they will receive that here in this world and have nothing left when they go on to the next world. I remember I had the privilege as a teenager of spending Shabbos at the house of Rav Hillel Zaks, Zatzal, of blessed memory, who was the grandson of the Chafetz Chaim. And I asked him a question on this. I asked him that if the next world is so great compared to this world, then how is it just to reward a Russia, a bad person, for their mitzvot in this world, where you're giving them this lousy currency instead of the next world, which is so much greater? How is that just for God to do that? And he answered me, and he said, and certainly this person, like we're describing over here, a person who's fighting against God, who's a truly evil person, so when he does something good, he's not doing it as a spiritual act. He's doing it with ulterior motives. He's doing it for whatever reasons. He's doing it as a very mundane physical act. The person who's fighting against God, an evil person, he's not doing it as a spiritual act. And therefore, it is perfectly just that his reward will be in this physical plane. Kalu be'ashan kalu. They will dissipate like smoke. They will dissipate. V'din of olam haba, harash ein lamala mimenu. Oh boy. And their situation in the world to come is ra she'ein lamala mimenu, that there is nothing worse than that. As it says, ruchachem ke'esh tochalchem. Their spirit, like fire, will be their spirit fire will consume them. Now, the Maharal explains that when we speak about the fires of the world to come, which a number of psukim, that this pasuk and others that he'll be quoting, he says that it is a mashal, it is a parable to the, the incredible pain is the separation, the detachment from between us and God. And for us in this world, we all feel somewhat detached. It doesn't sound like it is so horrific. But in the next world, when we have that spiritual clarity, that is horrific. And what we can compare that to is what we compare it to, the fires of Gehenna. Okay, so that is the first level, and that is the tovot that are equally given to all of humankind. And again, the idea of this perek, of this chapter, is that our level of avoda must be in accordance to the blessings, the specific blessings that Hashem has given us. But inyan hasheni, the second level, tovot habore al am min ha'amim, v'uma min ha'umot. That is the tov that Hashem gives to one of the nations, to one of the peoples. Kamoshe tiv livnei Yisroel, for example, right? But it's not just us, right? Different nations were also given different gifts, different abilities, different natural assets, different climates, right? Hey, you're living in California. You have to appreciate that. You could be in Minnesota. You could be somewhere where they're buried under in snow. Okay? So it's the Mina Amim and the Mina Umot. And the example he gives is Kamoshe Tiv Livnei Yisrael, the good that Hashem gave to us, the children of Israel, Bahot Siam, Me'eretz Mitzrayim, bring us out from Egypt, Ve'aviyam, and bring us El Eretz Canaan, to the land of Canaan. The Chayavim Bazeh Avodah Yetera, and we are thereby obligated in Avodah Yetera, Al Avodah Rishana, on a level of service that supersedes that first level that we mentioned. The Torah Hasham Uyot, whereas the first level, all of humankind, it was the Torot Hasichliot, it was that which goes according to our seichel, that which we understand that that's what we need to do. Just one second. Now we're going into Torah Tashamiot, those instructions that were Shamiot, that we had to have heard. Without having heard them, we would not have known to do them. And he gives some examples over here of those that would make no sense to us at all, right? An example, he says over here, just one second, para aduma, the red heifer, shatnis, the mixing of wool and linen, right? But I don't know if you have to go to those that are so far, but even those, the celebration of Pesach, right? Or Shabbos, right? Those are not things. Tzitzit, tefillin, Shabbat candles, family purity. These are not things that on our own we would have known to do, and there would not have been any expectation. But these are shamiot, those that we have heard, and that is the Torah that we have. Once a person is careful with the basic ones, now, right, because of the general good that one receives by virtue of being a human being with all the gifts that go along with that, now we have additional, the Shamiyot. Umi shekibla lichvod Elokim, and one who has accepted those in order once again to give kavod, to give honor to Hashem, Yachdeu Akel Betova, then God will uniquely give him this Tova. V'chayvu aleh avoda zulati avodat umato v'shar shifto. Right? And then those individuals will be obligated in avoda besides the others of his nation or even his tribe. Kamoshe matzanu shevet Levi, like we find amongst all the tribes of Israel, this tribe of Levi. Kish'amar Moshe, when Moshe said by the sin of the golden calf, the Chet HaEgel, Mi Lashem Elai, who is to Hashem, come to me. V'yesvu alav kol b'nei Levi, and all of b'nei Levi, the whole tribe of Levi, gathered to be there with Moshe. Hosif lahem hakel tova yetera. God added onto them, added tova, added benefits, added good. Ubachar mehem l'sharet kvodo Aaron uvanav, and they were given the honor of serving Aaron ubanav, that the Leviim work as a way and as a support network for the Kohanim. V'tziva otam b'torot yiterot, and they're also then commanded with added instructions, meshar ha'uma, than the rest of the nation. V'yir otam b'gmul gadol olam haba, and they are a set for tremendous gmul in the world to come. Now, interesting. So, will a Levi? I'm not a Levi. Melvin over here is a Kohen. So Melvin does his Kohen things. I don't do his Kohen things. I'm not allowed to do his Kohen things. So my understanding was always that as long as I'm doing my Yisroel things, as best as I can, I will not receive any less reward than Melvin when he does his Yisroel and his Kohen things to the best of his ability. But this seems to be saying that that the Levium were commanded, betorot yiterot, added instructions, guidance, mishar ha'umav, and the rest of the nation, v'yirotam b'gemul hagadol olam haba, and they are also designated for a greater gemul, or gemul hagadol, great gemul, great recompense, la'olam haba, in the world to come. Okay, I guess it does make sense. Meaning, what they are doing more than I is showing greater appreciation for their greater gift. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. Umisha yamre habore yitaleh. Once again, one who takes these gifts and uses it to rebel against the Creator. Mayhem, yipol mishtei hamalot. That person will fall from these two levels of humankind and special nation. And once again will be held accountable in both worlds. As the Chacham, as Shlomo Melech, like Shlomo King Solomon said, V'tov lo yeh l'rasha, it will not be good for the Rasha, and the Tov, the ultimate good, is the world to come. V'lo yarich yamim, nor will he have longevity of days that is in this world. So we have humankind. We have being, by virtue of being Jewish, part of this nation. Va'inyan ashlishi, the third, is tovot ha'elokim al mishpachot ha'uma. That is the good that Hashem gives out to a family from amongst the families. Like, for example, Kahuna, Kohanim, Leviyim, Zerah HaMelucha, or royal descent from the house of David. So I think this helps me with the problem I had before. So before we're talking about the general thing that was given to the nation. Within the nation, the Levium stepped up. And therefore they will receive more for their having stepped up. Yeah, that works perfectly for me. Right? Within the nation they stepped up. They will receive more for their stepping up within the nation. Any one of us could have stepped up and been alongside Moshe. We didn't. They did. Famous story, Rav Schwab of blessed memory was visited once to Chafetz Chaim. Rav Schwab was much younger, of course, than the Chafetz Chaim. Rav Schwab was a contemporary. He lived to the 1980s, 90s, I believe. Chafetz Chaim lived in the 1930s. So as a very young man, he had the chance to visit the Chafetz Chaim. And the Chafetz Chaim said to him, "Are you a Kohen?" And he said, "No, I'm not a Kohen." Chafetz Chaim was a Kohen. Chafetz Chaim said, "Why are you not a Kohen?" And he answered, "My father wasn't a Kohen." Chafetz Chaim said to him, "Well, why wasn't your father a Kohen?" And he knew the answer was not because his father wasn't a Kohen, so he just stayed quiet. The Chafetz Chaim said to him, "I'll tell you why I'm a Kohen and you're not a Kohen. The reason is when Moshe called out and said, Mi la Hashem Elai, who's for God, come to me, my great-great-great-great-grandfather stepped forward. Yours did not. That's why I'm a Kohen and you're not a Kohen." And everyone in their lifetime has that point where they hear that voice, Mi la Hashem Elai, who's for Hashem, come to me, where they need to make that decision and take that step. Make sure when you hear that call, make sure you answer it. So yeah, in the previous grouping, the category number 2, that was all Am Yisrael. The Levium stepped up from amongst all of us. We had the ability to step up. We did not. They did. And therefore, yes, they will have that greater reward. Now, the Inyan Ashlishi is within the nation. Certain families have been granted a certain certain gifts, certain tovot. Kohanim, Leviim, the house of David, v'chayavim al ze avodah yetera, and therefore they have received these special added tovot. Therefore, they're obligated to do avodah yetera, added avodah. Vavodot hakuhuna, that which the Kohanim do, Valevia, and that which the Leviim do, Yuduo, those are known. Umavu arot b'sefer Torah Elokim, they are explicit in our Torah. However, Torah Beit David, the instructions for the house of David, for the royal family, that is Kamoshe Katuv, that's what's found in the Navi Yirmiyahu. Beit David, house of David, Koamar Hashem. This is what Hashem says. Dino, laboker mishpat, vatzilu gazul, miyad oshek. You have a responsibility. If Hashem has given you king royalty, then you have to be responsible. You need to worry for the justice and to be there to protect those who are weak, those that others are taking advantage of. Dino, the din la boker, right? We say in Hebrew, ala boker, right in the morning, mishpat, vihitzilo, you need to save, gazul, the one from whom things were stolen, miyad oshek, from the hand of the one who oppresses him. Umishesh lilam la'ahavat, Ritzon Ha'elokim, and one who once again fulfills these obligations because of his ahavat, his or her ahavat, Ritzon Ha'elokim, love for the Ratzon, the will of God. Once again, this person will receive special Gumul, Tov, good in this world, and Gumul, recompense in the world to come. Via Nediv Nivchar, Omoret Tzedek, and this person will be a Nediv Nivchar, a chosen leader, or teacher of Tzedek, of righteousness. As the Pasuk says, K'mo Kasav al Pinchas, V'amod Pinchas, V'yipalel V'teyatzar, Ha'magefa. Pinchas is the one who, when Zimri was acting in a public immoral fashion, he amongst all the Kohanim, he's the one who rose up. And that caused this plague to stop. And that was considered to him as a tzedakah, and that reverberated throughout all the generations. And it says, Asher Shamru et Mishmeret Mikdashi, B'ta'ut B'nei Yisroel Me'alai, and the Kohanim Leviim of B'nei Tzadok, who kept the guarding of my Mikdash when B'nei Yisrael swayed, deviated, swerved Me'alai from following me. Hema Yikuvu Elai, they will be brought close to me, Lisharteni, to serve me. Umi Shehim Elokim Mehem, and those who take these gifts and use that to rebel against Hashem, Nafal, will fall will fall from all of these heightened levels of this world, and will have a very, very rough go of things. That we see the example he brings is Korach, right? Korach who rebelled against Moshe and Aaron. And Moshe said to him, Rav Lachem b'nei Levi, right? Is it so small, insignificant that God has chosen you to be of the Leviim? Now you want to usurp more than that? And of course, they were swallowed up in Olam Hazeh, and there is a teaching that they remain in Olam Haba, right, forever judged in Gehenna. The fourth level, Tavat Elokim al ish meishe b'nei adam. Each of us have our own individual treasures, gifts that Hashem gives us. That we specifically have more, different, I don't want to say more, right? Everyone has their own gifts, but different than one's family, one's people, humankind. Examples, Kanavi, like a prophet, Muvchar, a chosen prophet, O Nagir, or a leader, Mitzuvel Anigoma, who is there to lead the nation, O Chacham, Heir Elakim et Rucho B'Chachmo, Tuna Ve'etza V'Doma Lazeh, or a person who was given a lot of wisdom, Chacham, a very wise person, that Hashem has lit up his spirit with wisdom, understanding, counsel. Right? And for each of those gifts that each of us have, so we have that responsibility of raising our game in our avodas Hashem. Umi sheheshlima, and someone who fulfills this, does this in a shalem, complete fashion, matmidot lo kol hatovot hakodolot hamichudot ba'olam. To that person comes tremendous, general and particular, specific good in this world. V'yosef lo elokim koach aleihem v'dat behen. And God, right, if we're using the same way that if someone is using the gift that you've given them well, then you want to give them more gifts. And therefore, Yosef, Hashem will add on koach, more strength and more knowledge. K'moshe Katuv, it says in Tehillim, Nishba Hashem leDavid, Emet lo yashuv mimena, mipri v'itnecha, ashit l'kisei lach. Hashem swore to David, the truth will not come back from you, from your descendants. I will give to your throne. Im yishmeru banecha briti ve'edoti zolam deim. If your children will observe the covenant and my testimonies that I will teach them, gam b'neihem, then also their children, adeyad, yeshvu l'kisei lach, they will sit on this throne, v'agamul olam haba, and of course also the recompense in the world to come. K'moshe Kosev, as it says in Tehillim, right, there were those who were scoffing David and putting down David. And he said, right, I would have given up hope, if not that I had that emunah, that I would see the good of Hashem, be'eretz chayim. And once again, a person uses those gifts. Right? You have some of these genius people, right, who use that to disprove God, to fight against God. So they're using that gift that God gave them in order to rebel. They will fall from all of these lofty levels. And Hashem will be very, very exacting from them in this world. As it says, from those that are closest to me, I will sanctify myself. Meaning, this is a passage that was said by Nadav and Avihu, that they were the choices of the generation, but they brought that Eish Zara, that foreign flame, into the Holy of Holies. They wanted to go freestyle, and you don't go freestyle when you're on God, when you're in God's place. And God was sanctified through the very, very immediate repercussion that came to them. Aaron was silent. It says, you I have known, I have such a close connection, bond, covenant from all the families of the land. Therefore, I will hold you responsible for that which you are doing wrong. There's a greater expectation. And also that will apply also in the world to come. As it says, that's prepared for a king. This punishment. The king who had the capacity to do so much good, if he took that power that was granted to him and used it the opposite, then mik harchiv midorata eshveitzim. Once again, this is the fire in the wood. Harbei nishmot Hashem kenachal gafrit barabo. Again, this is that mashal, like the nisham, the breath of Hashem will be like this fiery river, right? Again, that's the mashal according to the Maharal that we have of and a person. But the idea is, and we each need to look and appreciate the unique gifts that we were given, right? In all aspects, in terms of family, in terms of friend, in terms of community, in terms of physical, in terms of emotional, in terms of all the things that we have, in terms of intellectual, and to recognize that these are really special gifts that Hashem has given us, and not be mamre, and not to be ingrates, but to use that as motivation to serve Hashem on an even more intimate, more feeling, better kavanah, better actions, whatever it is. Each of us knows the areas where we could use a little bit of a step forward, and we have to look at the gifts we have and work with that, live according to that. Okay, my friends, good. We'll call it over here. And yeah, and from now on, we're back to our regular start time, which is at 5:45 to 6:30. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Rabbi.
You're very
So
welcome.
where are we starting next week?
Okay, good point. Let me jot that down.
I
Thank
don't
you for
even
reminding me.
know which hour we're on.
Okay, so Safari, it's what? 6 what?
6-9.
6-9. Okay. And Cheryl, what page are you on?
247.
247. Okay, I think that's the only book we have out today. So,
So
okay.
it's
Oh,
going to
no.
start with Aval im yitkain lehit kabetz. That's where we're starting.
Val Eila Arba Ha'inyanim.
So I something is not matching. I'm going to. I thought it was said it was chapter 6, 6-9.
1.
So 6
Yeah.
is Shar Hakniya.
No, Shar Avodat Elokim.
So it's not matching. I'm on Chovot Halavavot, Sha'ar Shishi, which says Shar Hakniya.
No. It's Perek. No. It's Shar Avodat Elokim, Perek Shishi, Perek Vav.
Shar Avodat Elokim.
Yeah, service of
Which
God.
number Shar is that? Oh, that's 3.
I think number 3.
And then you're saying it's 6 within 3?
Chapter 6 of Gate 3.
Chapter 6 of Gate 3, it starts Amra HaNefesh, Kfar
Yes.
HaBeit.
Yes. And we're up to now 6:9.
9 is going to be V'al Eila Arba Ha'inyanim.
Bingo.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry for not making it clear. I'll be sure to announce next time. Gate 3, chapter 6, number 9, paragraph 9.
Okay, great. See you.
Okay?
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So that's the one that starts with the fourth division in God's goodness is to the individual.
Yes.
We just did that, right?
Yes. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank
See you
you.
tomorrow.
Okay.
It's tomorrow morning.
Have a good night. Yes, see you
Bye.
tomorrow
You
morning.
too. Thanks.
Good night.
Thank you, Rabbi.
You're welcome. A little warm.